Hey, let's look at your MT1 LT6 seminar on locating points in the coordinate plane. You're going to notice that this is very familiar to what we did in the previous lesson, because now instead of one direction, we're just looking at two directions. So I want you to find the point on a directed line segment on the coordinate plane that's given in a fractional distance, and we're going to do it in a ratio also. So pretty much exactly what we did in the last lesson, but we're going to do it twice. So what do I mean by do it twice? So if I look at here, I want to find point C on line AB. So it's 3/4 the distance from A to B. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at my x distance first. That didn't quite write as nice as I wanted to. So I look at my x coordinates. I'm going to subtract my x coordinates. I'm going to say 6 minus a negative 7. So I'll go 6 minus a negative 7. And that will be 13, won't it? I'm going to find 3/4 of 13. And it's fine to do decimal because we're doing distance really. So let me close up in here. So I'm going to take 3/4 of 13. So 3/4 is 0.75 times 13. I could have taken 13 times 3 and divided by 4. Notice you get the same answer. So my distance is 9.75. And just like on the last seminar, that's not my answer. And I do have to pay attention now with my directed line segment. I'm going from A to B, so I'm going to the right, aren't I? So I'm going to take negative 7 plus 9.75. And that'll be 2.75. So if I go at 2.75, there, I'm right about there, aren't I? So that's going to be point C. It's going to be at 2.75. I'll do the same thing for Y. Now, I wrote kind of big here, so I don't know if I left enough room for us. And I kind of misspelled distance. Let's try that again. I think I'll write it right here instead. Y distance. So I'm going to go 8 minus a negative 5 and take the absolute value of that. And look at that. That's 13 again, isn't it? And I know 3/4 of 13 is 9.75. The only difference is I'm starting at negative 5, aren't I? Because my y coordinate is negative 5. So I'm going to say negative 5 plus 9.75 will give me 4.75. And look at that. I was pretty darn good at estimating. I should get something kind of close. Now, when I give the ratio of 1 to 2, it's just like we did yesterday, the last seminar. I'm going to take that ratio and I'm going to change it to a fraction. Remember, to find the denominator, I just add my ratio up. My first number is my numerator. So I'm really going to do 1/3 of the distance. By the way, I forgot to mention, if you go to the left, you're going to subtract. If you go down, you're going to subtract. Both these examples we're going to add because notice B is to the right, so I'm going to add, and it's up, so I'm going to add. So now, let's just go through this again. I'm going to do the x distance. So I'm going to subtract my x coordinates between B and A. So I'm going to say the absolute value of 6 minus a negative 5. Well, that's 11 then, isn't it? I'm going to take 1/3 of 11. Well, that's 11 thirds, or 3 2/3, or 3.67, we'll say. Remember, that's not my answer. I start at -5. I'll go -5 plus 3.67. Not very good at subtracting in my head. So I'm going to go -5 plus 3.67. My x-coordinate is going to be at -1.33. So point C is at -1.33. It's going to be on the line here. So I'll say -1.33. Now let's start over with my y distance. And my y distance, I'm going to take 2 minus a -2. And that will be 4. So then I take 1/3 of 4, which is 1.33. It's 4/3, which is 1.33. I start at -2. I add 1.33. And -2 plus 1.33, that's -0.67. And once again, pretty good at estimating there. Maybe I should write my answer over here. So the coordinates is -1.33, -0.67. I could have wrote that as a fraction, I guess, because we know what 0.33 is. So it's -1 1/3, comma 2/3. And there's my answer for that question as the ordered pair. Ooh, got an extra line in there.